intimacy every night after our wedding for a whole month. When I confronted her, she said, "Oh, my body, my choice, you have no right." So I filed for the marriage to be dissolved by the court. What happened next was rather unexpected. I stood at the altar, my palms sweaty, my heart hammering like it was trying to break free. Elena looked perfect. Her white dress hugged her curves. Her smile lit up the room, and her eyes locked on mine like I was the only man alive. I'd known her for 2 years, and every moment had led to this, our wedding day. My brother Mark, my best man, elbowed me with a grin. "You're a lucky bastard, Dan," he whispered loud enough for the front row to chuckle. I smirked back, believing it. The vows came easy, promises of forever, sealed with a kiss that tasted like hope. If I'd known them what I'd know a month later, I'd have walked away right there. The reception was a blur of toast and laughter. Mark stole the mic, slurring a speech about how I'd always been the big brother who had it all. People laughed. I clapped him on the back. Elena danced with me, her body close, her laugh soft in my ear. I thought it was the start of something real. That night, we stumbled into our new home, my place, now ours, exhausted but happy. I reached for her, expecting the closeness we'd built over months of dating. She pulled away, sharp and sudden. "Not tonight, Daniel," she said. Her voice clipped. "My body, my choice." I froze, confused, but nodded. Weddings are stressful, I told myself. She'd come around. She didn't. Night after night, it was the same. I'd lean in, hoping for a spark, and she'd turn cold, arms crossed, eyes anywhere but on me. "My body, my choice," she'd repeat, like a mantra carved in stone. I'd lie there, staring at the ceiling, wondering what I'd done wrong. Was it me? Was she regretting the marriage already? I tried talking to her, asking if she was okay, if I could help. "I'm fine." She'd snap, then bury herself in her phone. The screen glowed late into the night, her fingers tapping out messages she wouldn't let me see. I'd ask who she was texting. "Work," she'd say, too quick, too flat. I wanted to believe her. Days turned into weeks, and the distance grew. She'd leave the house for hours, errands, she claimed, and come back with nothing to show for it. I'd catch her smiling at her phone, a private little curve of her lips she never showed me anymore. At dinner, she'd pick at her food, answering my questions with one-word grunts. "How was your day?" I'd ask. "Fine," she'd mutter. I started noticing things I'd ignored before, how she'd linger over my questions about money, asking about my construction business, my savings, my plans. "Just curious," she'd say with a shrug. I built that company from nothing, poured my life into it. Her interest felt off, like she was cataloging me instead of caring. Mark was around more than usual too. I'd given him a job at the company a year back, project manager, decent pay. He'd stop by the house unannounced, claiming he needed to check in about work. He'd flop onto the couch, crack a beer, and ask about Elena. "How's the wife treating you?" he'd say, smirking like it was a joke. I'd laugh it off, say she was settling in. He'd nod, but his eyes would flick to her when she walked in, and she'd give him this quick, tight smile. I told myself it was nothing, brothers and wives get along, right? But it gnawed at me, a splinter I couldn't pull out. By the end of the first month, I was a wreck. I'd lie awake while she typed, the blue light of her phone casting shadows on the wall. I'd stopped reaching for her. Rejection stings less when you don't try. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I waited till she fell asleep, her phone buzzing softly on the nightstand. I didn't touch it. Snooping felt dirty, but the sound wouldn't stop. Bus, bus, bus. I got up, paced the hall, trying to shake the paranoia. She was my wife. I'd vowed to trust her, but trust doesn't silence questions. The next night I heard her voice, low, hushed, coming from the bathroom. I pressed my ear to the door, heart pounding. "He's clueless," she whispered. "Just wait." My stomach dropped. Who was she talking to? About me? I stepped back, the floor creaking under me. The whispering stopped. She came out a minute later, phone clutched tight, her face blank. "Who were you talking to?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Work," she said, brushing past me. At midnight I pressed. She spun on me, eyes hard. "Drop it, Daniel." I didn't. I couldn't. That was the moment I decided I wasn't letting this slide. I'd watch her figure out what she was hiding. I didn't know then how deep the lie went, how it had ripped my life apart. But I knew one thing. The woman I'd married wasn't who I thought she was, and I was damn sure going to find out why. A month into my marriage, I was done playing the fool. Elena's cold shoulder had turned into a wall, and I was tired of crashing into it. Her, my body, my choice line had gone from a sting to a slap, and I couldn't shake the feeling she was hiding something. I'd catch her staring at her phone, smirking at messages she'd tilt away from me, or slipping out for errands that lasted hours. I'd ask where she'd been, and she'd toss me a vague out before shutting down. I wasn't a jealous guy, not before her, but doubt had taken root, and it was growing fast. I decided to confront her. It was a Friday night, the house quiet, except for the TV. I wasn't watching. She sat on the couch, legs tucked under her, texting like her life depended on it. I took a breath, steadied myself. "Elena, we need to talk," I said, keeping my tone even. She didn't look up. "About what?" she muttered, thumbs still flying. "About us? You're distant. You won't touch me. What's going on?" She finally met my eyes, and I saw something flicker. Annoyance, maybe guilt. "Nothing's going on," she said, sharp. "I'm just not in the mood." "You don't own me, Daniel." The words hit like a brick. I stood there, jaw tight, searching her face for a crack. I'm not trying to own you, I shot back. I'm trying to understand my wife. She rolled her eyes, grabbed her phone, and stormed out. The front door slammed. I didn't follow. Work was my escape. But even there, the unease followed me. My construction company was my pride. 10 years of sweat and late nights. Built from a single truck to a crew of 20. Mark ran projects for me, and he'd been acting strange lately. He'd swing by my office more than he needed to, leaning on the doorframe with that lazy grin of his. How's married life, big shot? He'd ask. Too casual, too often. I'd shrug, say it was fine, but his questions kept drifting to Elena. She happy? Keeping you on your toes. He'd laugh, but his eyes lingered on my reaction. I started wondering why he cared so much. Then there was the day he asked about money. We were in the break room, grabbing coffee. Business still raking it in, he said, stirring sugar into his cup. Yeah, steady. I replied, watching him. He nodded, then added, you ever think about cashing out? You've got enough to coast. I frowned. Why would I? This is my life. He shrugged, smirked. Just saying, Elena might like a cushier setup. It was an odd comment, one that stuck with me. I brushed it off as Mark being Mark. Nosy, a little jealous maybe? He'd always been the kid who wanted what I had, ever since we were boys fighting over toys. I didn't see the warning signs. That night, Elena left her phone on the kitchen counter. She was in the shower and the screen lit up with a text. I shouldn't have looked. I knew it, but curiosity won. I glanced over. The message was from M. Just 2 words. All good. My pulse kicked up. M could be anyone. Michelle from her old job. Her cousin Maria. But my gut screamed, Mark? I didn't touch the phone, didn't scroll. I just stood there staring, until she came out wrapped in a towel. She snatched it up, eyes narrowing. What are you doing? She snapped. Nothing. I lied. Just saw it buzz. She didn't buy it, but she didn't push. I went to bed with a knot in my chest. The next day, I checked her phone records. I'd never done anything like that before. Felt like a creep, but I had to know. I logged into our shared account online, scrolled through the numbers. There it was, dozens of calls to Mark's cell, some lasting an hour, most at night when I was asleep or out. My hands shook as I printed the list. I didn't confront her yet. I needed proof, something solid. I started watching her closer, where she went, who she talked to. She didn't notice or didn't care. It all came to a head a week later. She said she was meeting a friend for drinks, left the house in a hurry. I waited 10 minutes, then followed. I drove slow, kept my distance, tailing her car through town. She didn't go to a bar. She pulled into a park on the edge of the city, a quiet spot with no lights. I parked a block away, watched her get out. Then I saw him, Mark, stepping from his truck, hands in his pockets. My breath caught. She walked up, and before I could process it, they were kissing, deep, desperate, like they'd done it 100 times. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. My wife, my brother, together. I didn't scream. I didn't charge out. I sat there, numb as the truth sank in. This wasn't a fling. This was a knife in my back, twisted slow. I drove home. The image burned into my brain, her hands on him, his smirk as he pulled her close. I didn't know what they were planning, but I knew one thing. I wasn't clueless anymore, and they were going to regret underestimating me. Seeing Elena and Mark together in that park broke something in me. Not my heart, but my patience. I'd spent a month swallowing doubts, making excuses, but that kiss was a spotlight on the truth. They weren't just cheating, they were playing me. I drove home that night with my hands steady on the wheel, my mind racing. I didn't cry or yell. I got focused. If they thought I'd roll over, they didn't know me at all. The next morning, I started digging. Elena was still asleep when I slipped out to my office. I had the phone records already. Hours of calls between her and Mark. So while I'd been in the next room, I pulled bank statements next. My account showed withdrawals I hadn't made. Small at first, then bigger, linked to her debit card. She'd been siphoning cash, covering tracks with vague receipts. I found texts too, synced to our cloud backup from months back. One from Mark to her, dated before the wedding. He's loaded. Stick it out. Another from her. I'll get what I can. My stomach turned. This wasn't love gone wrong. This was a con. I called my lawyer Greg that afternoon. He'd drawn up the prenup I'd insisted on. Elena had signed it reluctantly, joking I didn't trust her. Turns out I'd been right. I want an annulment, I told Greg, laying out the affair and the money trail. She married me under false pretenses. It's fraud. He didn't flinch. We've got a case, he said. Give me everything. Texts, photos, proof. I spent the next 2 days gathering it. I snapped a picture of Elena's phone screen when she left it unlocked. Mark's name glowing with a heart emoji. I hired a guy to tail them, got shots of them meeting again. Every piece locked into place like a puzzle I wished I'd never solved. Elena figured out something was up when I stopped talking. I didn't confront her. Why tip my hand? She'd catch me staring, ask, what's your problem? I'd shrug, say nothing. She got jumpy, started packing bags for a weekend away. I let her think she had time. The day I filed, Greg served her the papers at the house. I wasn't there. I didn't need to see her fake tears. She called me, screaming. You can't do this. I hung up. She countersued for alimony the next day, claiming I'd forced her into marriage, and she deserved half my company. Bold move for a liar. Work was a minefield now. Mark showed up Monday acting like nothing had changed. He strolled into my office tossing a clipboard on my desk. "Got those site updates for you," he said, grinning. I looked at him, my little brother, the kid I'd bailed out of trouble a dozen times and saw a stranger. "You're fired," I said flat. His grin vanished. "What? You heard me. Get out," he stammered. "Dan, come on. What's this about?" I stood, leaned in close. "I saw you with her. Pack your stuff. You're done." His face went pale, then red. "It's not what you think," he started. I cut him off. "Save it for someone who cares." He grabbed his things and left cursing under his breath. The real fallout came at Mom's place that weekend. She'd invited me for dinner, said it was family time. I should have known better. I walked in, and there they were, Elena and Mark, sitting at the table like I'd interrupted their meal. Mom rushed over, hands clasped. "Daniel, we need to fix this," she said, voice trembling. "They told me everything. It was a mistake, just fun that got out of hand." I stared at her, then at them. Elena wouldn't meet my eyes. Mark smirked, like he thought he'd won. "Fun," I said, slow. "Stealing from me? Screwing my wife? That's your idea of fun?" Mom flinched. "He's your brother," she pleaded. "Forgive him." I laughed, a hard, bitter sound. "He's not my brother. He's a her?" I jabbed a finger at Elena. "She's a gold digger who never loved me." Elena shot up. "That's not true." Mark grabbed her arm, pulled her back. "Dan, let's talk this out," he said, all fake calm. I stepped forward, towering over him. "You don't get to talk. You don't get anything from me. Not my money, not my trust, not my name." I turned to Mom. "You're picking him over me? Fine. You're out too." She gasped, but I didn't stop. I walked out, their voices fading behind me. The court date came fast. Elena's lawyer spun a story. Poor girl trapped by a controlling husband. Greg dismantled it. He showed the judge the texts, the photos, the prenup she'd signed. "This marriage was a sham," he said. "She targeted him for his wealth." The judge agreed. An omen granted. No alimony? No payout. Elena glared at me as she stormed out, Mark trailing her like a kickdog. I didn't feel triumph, not yet. I felt empty, but free. That night, I sat alone in my house, our house, now mine again. The silence was loud, but it was mine. They'd lost. I'd won, but it wasn't over. I knew Elena. She'd try something. And Mark? He'd follow her lead. I wasn't done with them yet. Winning in court felt good, but it wasn't enough. Elena and Mark had ripped my life open, and I wasn't about to let them slink away with a shrug. They'd underestimated me once, thought I'd fold, lick my wounds, and let them move on. I'd spent years building my company, my name, my trust. They didn't get to trash it and walk free. I'd make sure they felt the fallout, every jagged piece of it. Elena struck first. A day after the annulment, my phone buzzed with notifications. Her social media posts, public for the world to see. "Trapped in a loveless marriage," she wrote. "He controlled me, took everything." She painted herself as the victim, tears in her profile pic, hashtag screaming injustice. Comments piled up, strangers calling me a monster. Old friends asking what happened. I could have ignored it, let it fade. But then I saw Mark's reply. "He's always been a selfish prick. You deserved better." That lit the fuse. They wanted a war? I give them one. I had ammunition. Those texts from before the wedding, the ones where they mocked me. "He's loaded. Stick it out," Mark had said. The gullible cash cow, Elena had called me. I logged into my own account, posted the screenshots with a single line. "Truth hurts." No rant, no drama. Just the evidence. Cold and clear. The tide turned fast. Her followers backtracked. His buddies went quiet. I didn't stop there. I emailed a few key people, clients, mutual contacts, attached the same proof, kept it professional. "Just setting the record straight," I wrote. Word spread. Elena's victim act crumbled. Mark's charm didn't hold up. He tried hitting me where it hurt, my business. I got a call from a site foreman, Pete, saying Mark had shown up at a job talking trash to the crew. "Said you fired him for no reason," Pete told me. "Tried to poach a few guys for a new gig." I clenched my jaw. Thank Pete for the heads up. I trained my team well. Loyalty ran deep. No one took Mark's bait, but I wasn't leaving it to chance. Sarah, my office manager, stepped up. She'd been with me 5 years, sharp as a blade, and she'd never liked Mark. "Let me handle it," she said. She tipped off our suppliers. Let slip what he'd done. By week's end, no one in town would touch him for work. He was radioactive. The family mess came next. Mom pulled her stunt a week after the court ruling. I got a text. "Dinner at my place, 6 p.m. We need to talk." I almost said no, but curiosity dragged me there. I walked in and it was an ambush. Elena and Mark at the table, Mom hovering like a nervous referee. "Daniel, sit," she said, voice soft. "We can fix this." I stayed standing. "Fix what?" "Them screwing me over." Elena piped up. "You're overreacting." It wasn't personal. Mark nodded, all puppy eyes. "We messed up, Dan. Let's move past it." I looked at Mom, waiting for her to back me. She didn't.
"They're sorry," she said.
"He's your brother." I lost it. quietly the way rage cuts deepest. Sorry doesn't undo a year of lies. He's not my brother. He's a thief. And her? I pointed at Elena. She's a user who played us all. Mom teared up. You're tearing this family apart. I stepped closer, voice slow. They did that. You're just picking their side. Mark stood. Come on, man. I cut him off. Don't. You're nothing to me now. I turned to Mom. Call me when you figure out who your son really is. I left, their protests echoing behind me. That was the last time I stepped foot in her house. Back home, I took stock. My company was solid. Clients stuck by me. Profits held steady. Sarah kept things running. Even brought me coffee one morning with a quiet, "You're doing good, boss." I nodded, grateful for her. But the fight wasn't over. Elena's posts had slowed. Mark's job hunt was dead, but I knew them. They'd regroup, try something desperate. I kept my guard up, checked my accounts daily, locked down my life tighter than ever. Then it came. Late one night my phone pinged. A text from Elena. No name, just her number. "You'll regret this." It read. No context, no threat. Just those 3 words glowing in the dark. I stared at it, pulse steady. Regret? I'd felt plenty, trusting her, hiring Mark, believing Mom's excuses. But this? Making them pay? That wasn't regret. That was justice. I didn't reply. I forwarded it to Greg, told him to keep it on file. Whatever she was planning, I'd be ready. I leaned back, the house silent around me. I'd lost a wife, a brother, a mother, not the ones I'd thought they were, but shadows wearing their faces. It hurt, sure, but it also cleared the board. I was alone, but I was in control. And control was something they'd never take from me again. Elena's text, "You'll regret this," hung over me like a shadow, but I wasn't scared. I'd seen her worst, felt Mark's knife in my back, and I was still standing. Whatever she had left, I'd face it head on. I'd spent too long being the mark in their game. Now I was the one calling the shots. I forwarded the message to Greg, told him to watch for trouble. "She's desperate," he said. "Desperate people get sloppy." I nodded. Sloppy or not, I wasn't letting her catch me off guard again. It didn't take long. A week later, Greg called. "She's filed a motion, claims you coerced her into the prenup, says she's got proof." I laughed, dry and short. Proof of what? Her lies. He faxed me the filing. Attached were photos, me and her, edited to look like I was yelling, grabbing her arm. Fake as hell, but convincing if you didn't know better. She'd paired them with an affidavit swearing I'd threatened her into signing. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. "Can we fight this?" I asked. Greg didn't hesitate.
"Oh well, bury it."
The hearing was set fast. Elena pushing for a quick win, probably hoping I'd settle. I walked into the courthouse, Greg at my side, and saw her across the room. She wore a demure dress, eyes red like she'd been crying. Mark wasn't there. Guess he'd bailed on her too. Her lawyer strutted up all smug, laying out the doctored pics in her sob story. "Mr. Carter intimidated my client," he said. "She feared for her safety." The judge, a no-nonsense woman with sharp eyes, flipped through the evidence, unimpressed. Greg went to work. He pulled metadata from the photos, timestamps showing they'd been altered post-annulment. He showed the original texts, her calling me the cash cow, proving her motive. "This isn't coercion," he told the judge. "This is revenge from a woman who lost her scam." I took the stand, kept it simple. She married me for money. When I caught her with my brother, she turned on me. Those pictures? Lies. The judge didn't blink. She ruled in 10 minutes, motion denied, case closed. Elena's face twisted as she stormed out, her lawyer muttering apologies. I didn't smile. I just walked away free for good. Mark showed up that night. I was on my porch sipping a beer when his truck rolled in. He climbed out, hands up like he was surrendering. "Dan, hear me out," he said, voice shaky. I set the bottle down, stood. "You've got 30 seconds. He stumbled over his words, lost his job prospects. Elena dumped him. Mom wouldn't stop crying. "I screwed up," he said. "I'm sorry. You're my brother." I stepped closer, looked him dead in the eye. "You stopped being my brother the day you chose her over me. You don't get a second chance to stab me in the back." He flinched, tried to argue. "Get off my property," I said. Final. He left, tail between his legs. I didn't watch him go. Mom's letter came the next day, handwritten, 2 pages of guilt trips. "You're breaking my heart, Daniel. He's your blood. We're family." I read it once, saw her siding with him again, blaming me for the mess they made. I lit a match, held it to the corner, watched it burn in the sink. Family doesn't betray you, then demand forgiveness like it's their right. I was done carrying their weight. Work kept me steady. Sarah stepped up big, ran the office like a machine, kept the crew tight. One morning she brought me coffee, lingered by my desk. "You okay?" she asked. No pity, just real. I nodded. "Getting there." She smiled, small but warm. "Good. You deserve it." I looked at her, steady, smart, someone who'd stuck by me when the rest fell apart. Maybe it was too soon. Maybe it was nothing, but I asked her to grab a drink after work. She said yes. It wasn't a fix, but it was a start. The last piece fell into place a week later. I drove out to the edge of town, a spot overlooking the city where I used to go to think. I stood there, hands in my pockets taking it in. I'd lost a lot. Elena's fake love, Mark's loyalty, Mom's blind faith. It had hurt, carved me hollow for a while, but I'd fought back, stripped them of their power over me. My company was mine, stronger than ever. My life was mine, no strings left to pull. I thought about Elena's text, her last jab, her empty threat. Regret? I didn't feel it. I trusted too easy, sure, but that was on me. I learned, sharpened up, cut the dead weight. They gambled on me breaking. I'd bid on myself and won. The sun dipped low and I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. I wasn't the man I'd been a year ago, soft, hopeful, blind. I was harder now, clearer. And for the first time in months, I felt solid. I turned back to my truck, ready for whatever came next. They'd lost. I triumphed. That was the end of it. If you felt Daniel's fight in your bones, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Would you have forgiven Mark or cut him off too? Subscribe now and ring the bell so you don't miss the next story of betrayal, revenge, and redemption. What's your take? Drop it below, and let's talk. See you in the next story.
Thank you for watching. Like, share, and follow.